All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. This Raiders squad is resilient, and they are a lot better than people thought. They started off their week one on the road with a win against the Denver Broncos. And keep in mind, Las Vegas last season, they were 4-9 in one-score games. In 2021, when the Raiders went 10-7, made the playoffs, they were 7-2 in one-score games. So it pegs the question, what do good teams do? Well, good teams close. No matter how the game has been going, no matter how it looks like it's going to go, good teams close and they find ways to win. That's exactly what this Raiders team did this past Sunday. And I think it's kind of like indicative of what is to come, of what this future Raiders squad is all about. I really think this is a gritty team. Offensively, they have enough firepower to be a top 10 scoring offense. I know the first game wasn't flashy, but if you look across the league, week one, historically, especially this season, it's usually pretty lackluster. But in the touchdown drives that we did see, Jimmy G was in control. He was in control for a majority of the game. He did make a couple of mistakes, most notably the interception, but you gotta like what you saw in week one with this Raiders team. They were not getting much hype. They were not getting much praise this past summer. But on this channel, obviously, we've been hyping them up. I really think with Jimmy G, Josh Jacobs, Jakobi Meyers, Davante Adams, the new tight end room, a really decent offensive line that nobody seems to understand, this offense, we're in a scoring league. It's 2023. Offense are winning games right now. Defense is still going to win you championships. We'll talk about the Raiders defense a little later on in today's video. But before we do, if you guys enjoy it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button. If you like Raiders content, you've come to the right place. Let's try and get this video to 500 likes. Raiders Nation, that would mean the absolute world to me. So like I said, I know it's just one game, and we're about to learn a lot more about this Raiders team when they play the Bills this upcoming weekend. But nonetheless, one game at a time. One game at a time. And I really feel like something clicked. I really feel like something clicked this past offseason. I don't know if it was, shipping away guys like Darren Waller, removing Derek Carr from the equation and bringing in fresh faces, fresh leaders like Jimmy G. But it just feels, I feel a lot more confident. I feel a lot more comfortable with the Raiders this season than I did last season. I think Josh McDaniels, I know he's not everybody's favorite coach, specifically Raiders Nation and Broncos fans, but I think he's learned a lot. And until I see differently, I think he's a leader of men. I really do. I think the players are bought in. I think they started to buy in towards the tail end of last year, especially when Stidham came in for those final two games, threw that ball around, and they're like, all right, hold on. You know what? Josh McDaniels, maybe there's a reason Bill Belichick trusted him to run his offense for a decade. Maybe there's a reason that the greatest quarterback of all time in Tom Brady loves Josh McDaniels. Like players, coaches, everybody loves Josh. He's never really had a bad rep except for in his brief tenures as a head coach. But something clicked this past offseason, and these guys are having fun. These guys seem like they really, really like each other. And considering what happened last week, the whole Chandler Jones situation, we don't even really know what's going on there. You got to take it and you got to be excited about it. So like I said, we'll learn a lot about them when they play the Bills this upcoming week. But after the Bills just lost to the New York Jets with Aaron Rodgers being injured on the fourth play of the game, honestly, I feel pretty good. I definitely don't feel bad about it. So let's look a little bit into that game here. One thing to note, the Denver Broncos defense is extremely talented. Josh Jacobs ran 19 times for 48 yards. He only averaged 2.5 yards per carry, and he only had a 7 rushing the ball. Zamir White, he only ran one time. Jimmy G did have a beautiful first down, but obviously Jimmy G is not a scrambler. He's not a mobile quarterback. Josh Jacobs last year was the best running back in the National Football League. He hit like 2,000 yards from scrimmage. He's the league-leading rusher. We're not going to see Josh Jacobs rush for under 50 yards in a game he plays all the snaps, like he doesn't get injured the rest of the season. I guarantee you the next 16 games, you will not see Josh Jacobs run for less than 48 yards. I cannot believe that he only ran for 48 yards. That's going to change. But people forget that Josh Jacobs was the league-leading rusher last season. And who's a quarterback's best friend? Well, hell yeah, baby. It's going to be that running back. It also is the offensive line, which, by the way, the Raiders' offensive line, they got a bad rap to start last season because it was like, through the first 6 games, they had 5 different offensive line combinations. But by the end of the season, with guys like Dylan Parham, they have young, intriguing offensive linemen. And by now, I'm not worried. I'm not concerned with the offensive line. And then we take a look at the receiving room. Jakobi Meyers, he is in concussion protocol. We'll talk about Hunter Renfrow in a second, but Jacoby Myers in his Raider debut did excellent. The dude did excellent. And keep in mind, you're going up against one of the best cornerbacks in the league. So we did see Davante Adams get targeted 9 times, but he was pretty quiet. 6 catches for 66 yards. The guy who stole the show was Jacoby Myers. 9 catches, 81 yards, 2 touchdowns. I make a bunch of Patriots videos. It was a tough loss. I will not lie to you. Patriots fans were not all that thrilled with the loss of Jacoby Myers. So we got Jacoby Myers, Hunter Renfrow, guys like Austin Hooper. We still got to see Michael Mayer get a catch, but I love the wide receiver room. I love the tight end room, and I love the running back room. And obviously, Jimmy G is a born leader. The dude just is a leader. He is a veteran. He's savvy. He knows what he's doing. He's the definition of a professional, and he is the leader of this Raiders team. I think just his work ethic, his likability, his relatability, I think it goes an extremely long way. Not that I didn't like Derek Carr, but I think they just needed a change of scenery. And Jimmy G in his first game, I know he threw it for 200 yards, and he did throw an interception, but 2 touchdowns is something I'm going to take. He had a QBR 83.4 for the first game of the season against the divisional rival on the road. Hell yeah, I'm going to take that performance. He only threw 6 incompletions. Now, defensively, Russell Wilson didn't have much, and the Broncos' running game didn't have much. They only had 94 total rushing yards. They've got guys like Javonte Williams, Samaje Perine. Russ can still scramble. But Russell Wilson throwing the ball, man, nothing there. 27 of 34. I feel like he was efficient. Russ was efficient in that game. He threw 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, but he only threw for 177 yards. New additions, guys like Marcus Peters and existing players like Nate Hobbs, this secondary is a lot better than people think. And when we have guys like Jacorian Bennett coming onto this roster, Tyree Wilson coming onto this roster, who, by the way, completely had a horrible first rookie game. I hated it, but we'll talk about that in a different video. But you've got guys like Max Crosby who are all over the quarterback. The Raiders defense, although they only had 4 quarterback hits and 2 total sacks, I felt like they did a really, really solid job for getting to the QB, getting to Russell Wilson. And then I've got my star rising linebacker in Divine Deablo, who had a pass deflection, a tackle for a loss, 9 total tackles. I really think this Raiders defense is going to be at least average. I think they have an average defense, especially year number 2 under defensive coordinator Patrick Graham. So we pair up a middle-of-the-pack defense and a top 10 offense. Well, the Raiders could really shock some people here. I'm not enamored by the Chargers. I think the Broncos are going to be a second-half team, but they took care of them in week 1. The Chiefs, I actually have a bunch of concerns. I have a bunch of question marks with them, specifically if Travis Kelce can't stay healthy. Well, the Chiefs aren't winning the Super Bowl, all right? I'm not saying the Raiders are going to win the Super Bowl, but I'm not saying this team could win. This team could win 9 games. They could win 10 games very, very easily if they stay healthy. The offensive line and Jimmy G, their star players, Davante Adams, Jacoby Myers comes back healthy, Josh Jacobs stays healthy, they're going to put up a lot of freaking points, man. If that defense can just bend, don't break, especially in the first half of the season, like we saw in the first game. I mean, they didn't even really bend. They didn't even really break. They did a great job. Well, this Raiders team could definitely be scary. I'm got my eye on Hunter Renfrow for this upcoming game. The dude 2 years ago was the best slot receiver in the National Football League. He played 14 snaps. He had 0 targets, 0 catches. Guy to watch for this upcoming game. He's going to have a big game, especially if Jacoby Myers can't suit up. So that's it for tonight, guys. If you enjoyed it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button. I got you covered with Raiders content. If we could get this video to 500 likes, that would mean the world to me. But most importantly, guys, give me a team grade down below in the comments. Thank you for watching. Peace.